choose to wear rose-colored sunglasses all the time, right? I chose early in my sobriety. I know I have shared here before that I am 11 and a half years into a journey of recovery. And so early in my sobriety, I chose to wear rose-colored glasses. And we all know what that implies, right? Rose-colored, you're looking at the world through rose-colored glasses means you're not seeing reality. Means you're like in toxic positivity. But for me, that was not the case. It was not a question of denial or a question of refusing to see reality. It was a conscious choice of needing to soften the reality that I was coming into, of choosing to look through these glasses that made the blue sky bluer and the sunset more beautiful and the greens more vibrant. And I did it consciously, with choice, knowing that it was what I needed at the time. Because I was coming out of a dark place. I was coming out of a place where I couldn't see the beauty in the world. And so I used it as a tool to help me to appreciate the beauty that is all around us, to appreciate the magnificence of creation that Source has given us. And so I used it consciously. And when you do so, oh, hello, mister. A little fly landed on my paper. So when you do that consciously, without losing track of the fact that not everyone sees through the same lenses as you, right? So when I was wearing my rose-colored glasses, I had to be aware that what I was seeing was not what the people around me were seeing. That they were not looking through the same lenses as I was. And so I needed to keep that awareness as well. But we all have the lenses that we look through are colored, whether it's rose or not, by our experience, by our belief system, by what has happened to us and what we believe, right? And so you can see through the lens of opportunity and look through rose-colored lenses where everything looks wonderful and expansive, or you can look through the lens of limiting belief and self-doubt and fear and separation, right? And that is your choice, because our experience of reality changes with the lenses that we choose. How many people in here have readers? I see a bunch of people wearing glasses, right? So if you need to read, you can't wear your distance glasses. If you need to see in the distance, readers aren't going to help you. They both have their function. They are both tools, but they need to be used at the right time. And hopefully, those of us on a spiritual path, which is everyone here, right? We use divine guidance to help us choose the right lens for the right situation, so that we know when to use farsighted to see the horizon of possibility that exists, and when we need to focus in, when we need to use those readers to see clearly what is right in front of us. And that is, once again, that's an awareness and a choice. And one could say that you should always see through the lens of love, right? As Reverend Rich's song. But I would clarify that it's also necessary to sometimes temper that love with boundaries, with tough love, with knowing how to see through that lens of love. And so I'm just going to say that it's always a choice for how you sharpen your vision and what you look at and what you aim to see. So I just recently went to Bermuda, and I shared about that in my Perspective of Paradise talk, but I went to Bermuda, and one of the things I did there was I climbed the lighthouse. And the lighthouse was 200 plus steps up in the heat, round and around and around. And so there are two lenses to look at this through. The lens of, oh my God, how many more steps are there in this heat? Or, oh my God, I can't wait to get to the top because I know the view is going to be amazing. And so which lens I choose creates the experience I have walking up those steps. And let me tell you, the view from the top was breathtaking. Of course, I was a little out of breath too, but it was a breathtaking view, and it was so worth the walk. But I got to do that walk, I got to do that climb with joy and with anticipation of that beautiful view that I was going to see. And that's a choice that we get to make in our lives with every obstacle we come to, with every climb that we have. We get to see it as an opportunity and a challenge, or as something that is going to, be exhausting and weigh us down. That is the lens that we choose to see through. So when I got to the top, I don't know how many of you have ever been to the top of the lighthouse? Anybody? Okay, so there's this multifaceted glass lens that is what makes the lighthouse work, right? And it is amazing and immense and beautiful. So when I got to the top, I took off my sunglasses, and I wear prescription sunglasses. So I took off my sunglasses to better see and be in the experience of the lens itself. And I was like, for a minute, the glare was blinding because I'm very light sensitive. But then what I saw without my sunglasses and being in that space of that lens was amazing. It was a perspective I wouldn't have seen if I had kept my sunglasses on. And it was a perspective of all of the reflections and refractions and surfaces and mirrors that are possible, that all the lenses that are available to us. It was just such a great metaphor for shining that light out and for being able to recognize all the many facets of the light within. I personally found it really beautiful. And so this is something that we get to make a choice of all of the time, every day. When do you choose to take off your glasses? When do your sunglasses or your regular glasses, when do you risk the glare of what might be too bright or too obvious to perhaps see it in a different way? I'm telling you, I had my sunglasses on driving down here, and then all of a sudden it got dark and cloudy, and I was like, oh, I need to switch my glasses. But you know what? I just said, okay, this too is good, right? For right now, this serves me. But I get to choose that at any time. And it's also one of the things that's really important to be aware of, because it always comes back to awareness and choice, is whose lenses are you looking through? Are they your lenses? Are they your prescription? Are they your choice? Or are they the lens of social media? Are they the lens of the society around you? Are they a lens of the news? Are they the lens of judgment? What are the lenses that you are looking through, and are they authentically yours? Because sometimes, very often, we see through opinions and beliefs and limiting beliefs and theories and all of that description and judgment that isn't even ours, right? So I'm going to tell you a little story about my experience with glasses. So I started wearing glasses in high school. And in high school, I did not wear my glasses, okay? In total vanity, I was like, oh, I don't want to be one of those kids that wears glasses, right? So I didn't wear them. I refused to wear them. I would go out of the house in the morning wearing them, then put them in my pocket, and not wear them at school. But guess what happened? So I was so concerned with what I looked like that I couldn't see when someone down the hall waved at me. I couldn't see my friends gathered over there talking. And so I got a reputation for being a snob because people thought I wasn't waving at them or I wasn't joining them. When it was really total insecurity, it was so far from the truth. I was so insecure about what I looked like that I presented this image that wasn't real, that wasn't the truth. So it's very useful and very necessary to be aware that the lenses we look out of and through are also influence the way we are seen. Because when we see through a lens of openness, of love, of compassion, of curiosity, other people see that. And when you take them off and stay stuck in vanity and ego and self-doubt and limiting beliefs and judgment and criticism, people see that too. whether you see it or not. So Anais Nin said, we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. So the way you look around at the world says a lot about who you are. And I know right now in the world, for me anyway, when I look around, it's difficult to see any of that as a reflection of me. But I know that it is my job, it is my work to go within and to heal any sense of separation in me, any sense of judgment, any sense of looking out and finding what is wrong, and instead saying, what is mine to do? How can I better show up as love in the world? How can I put on the lenses of love and be a better force for that? Because that is what our journey is all about. And you know, there's another story. Is anybody in here a birder? So I just recently started birding, bird watching, right? And so I go out, into the woods with my Merlin app and I listen to play it, and it tells me what birds are around, and then I try to find them with my binoculars. Well, everybody here has used binoculars, right? Do you know how difficult it is to put the binoculars where you want to see? It's like if you just put binoculars like this, you're usually not looking at the place where the bird is. It takes, conscious awareness, alignment, patience, and a steady hand. And usually for me, it takes like a plan. I have to go, okay, so that tree, the branch that goes like this, follow it up, and then up on that leaf. Oh yeah, there it is. So it takes some work, but OMG, when you get the binoculars in just the right spot, so that you see that bird, or maybe it's that bud, or that bug, or whatever it is that you're zooming in on, when you see it in that close-up, magnified version, it is magnificent, right? And it is a whole new perspective that you don't have without the binoculars. But once again, it comes to using the right tool at the right time. You can't, drive down the street with your binoculars. You can't, be here today with binoculars. I would be looking at the speck of the window rather than at all of you. So it always comes down to a choice, knowing when to focus in and when to focus out, zooming in and zooming out. And our spiritual tools are what help us do that, right? Using our spiritual practices so that we know when it's right to zoom in and zoom out. They allow us to see the bigger picture when the bigger picture needs to be seen, and they allow us to go in and really look within at the details when that is what is needed. My boyfriend used to always tease me because I use my phone as a camera. I used to take a lot of photos with a camera, but now I use my phone. And he would always say, we'd be hiking, and I would be like, oh my, look at that, look at that, look at that. And he would say, just be here. Don't put down the phone, you just be here. And I understand that concept. I understand that some people live their whole life through Instagram photos and aren't really present in the moment, but that isn't how it is for me. I use my phone because I am so present in the moment that I see different things through the lens of my camera. So when I look through the lens of my camera, I see things differently. And I can zoom in on one blade of grass with the whole field behind it and have one perspective. Or I can take a picture of the beautiful field and have a different perspective. I can see the clouds in the sky with the sunlight coming through, and I can just move like this and see a whole different stormy sky. So I take a lot of photos because I see a lot of different perspectives, right? And then I tell myself, oh, I'm gonna go back in and edit them, right? Get rid of the, only save the best ones. Well, you know what? I'm not real good at doing that because usually I find that each one has its own unique beauty. And there is something in each one that is a different way of looking at the world. And so I have a really hard time getting rid of them because I'm like, oh, but in this one, that ray of sun is coming in. And this one, the ray of sun was a little stronger. And so, but it just brings to point that the lens you choose to look at is always a question of choice and a question of willingness to see things differently. And what are you looking for? Because what you are looking for is what you will find. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "People only see what they are prepared to see." So what are you prepared to see? Are you looking for the beauty that one little weed in a field can show you? When you focus in on it and blur the background, kind of like that zoom setting, you know, where you blur the background. Sometimes that creates a real impression of beauty. Sometimes that is the lens you need. Blur out everything else and focus on what you're doing. And sometimes you need to see everything around you in detail. But that is always your choice. And we prepare ourselves to see that by our spiritual practices. My one friend always tells me that my phone doesn't take realistic pictures because it oversaturates the color. She's an artist and a Photoshop expert, and so she has very definite opinions about color grades and things. And I'm like, you know what? I love the way my phone takes pictures. It makes it more beautiful for me. It's kind of like those rose-tinted glasses that I used to wear. When I look back and see, it's like, oh, yeah. Maybe the sky wasn't exactly that blue, but when I look back and see the picture, it's like, oh, yeah. It reminds me of that moment and that beauty. And so I choose that lens. I'm not, doing it without awareness. I am choosing it. I am aware that not everybody sees it that way, but I choose to see it that way. I have a friend who can make the most mundane street sign look amazing. Because of his eye, because of the lens he sees it through, the way he uses light and focus. So when he travels, I see things through his eyes, and I get to see the most amazing things. It's not always like this glorious Grand Canyon. Sometimes it's a dark corner in an alley that's just like, wow, the beauty that is available all around us when we look for it. And when we are willing to use different lenses. I think I've shared this here before, but my boyfriend used to take really great photographs of me. I always looked beautiful in the photos he took of me because he saw me through the lens of love. And somehow he was able to capture that in his camera. And so now I have made it a spiritual practice when I look in the mirror to say, what would Richie see? Because, I look in the mirror and I see, oh my God, look at that, like this fall, this line. And then I go, Lori, let's look at ourselves through the lens of love. Because if I can look at myself through the lens of love, then I am better able to look at others through that same lens, right? But it always starts within, and it starts with the willingness to look through that lens and to see the best within me. He saw the beauty in me before I even knew it was there. And I am forever grateful for that. So, anybody in here a fan of kaleidoscopes? So that's they're one of my favorite things, right? And I once gave a friend of mine's son a kaleidoscope where you could put your own stuff in it. Like, how cool is that? It opened up and you could put a grain of sand or a leaf or a petal of a flower or pieces of paper or whatever you wanted in the kaleidoscope and then close it up and then, make it do magical things. So the kaleidoscope is a perfect metaphor for how we get to make a shift in the lens and in the way we see things. And sometimes we think that making a shift has to be this huge monumental thing. No. It can be as small as the tiniest shift in a kaleidoscope. It can be a few moments of prayer. It can be pausing before you respond to someone. It can be smiling at a stranger. It can be taking that moment of meditation in the morning, looking out at the beauty that is around us and appreciating it. It can be saying thank you. And then, once you do that, being aware of the shift that it makes. The same way in that kaleidoscope, you get to appreciate the new pattern. Once you've done something, once you've made a slight shift, once you've done your daily practices, Lori's mantra, right? What you need to do on a daily basis to make a difference. To be aware of how that has shifted your perspective. to think about it. Okay, now I've done my prayer. Do I feel differently? Am I looking at the world differently? Am I looking through a different lens because I've done this practice? Because I've chosen to make this shift? Because if you're not aware of it and you're not conscious of it, then nothing changes, right? It's all about our awareness and our shift so that we can once again and every time choose the lens that best serves us. I don't know, since we sort of started off, I'm not sure where I am with time, but I have one more little thing I need to share.
You're fine.
You're fine, okay. I have one more story that I need to share. I told you about being in high school and not wearing my glasses, right? And not being able to see around us. But now, as an adult, as a conscious adult in recovery and on a spiritual path, I often choose to take off my glasses. I choose to take off my glasses whenever I am one-on-one with someone, when I'm in a practitioner session, when I'm having coffee with someone, when I'm at someone's home. I take off my glasses because I want to only see the person in front of me. All that distraction, oh, squirrel, oh, look at the nice painting, oh, all that stuff. I want that to be blurred because I only want to focus on who is in front of me. And that is something we get to do. We can choose to take off our glasses, to change our area of focus anytime we want. And we can also, very importantly, clean our glasses, clean our lenses, right? My friend Sharon's always telling me, Lori, clean the lens on your camera. Some things are blurry. Well, this is what we do with our spiritual practices, right? We clean our lenses of all those things like judgment, criticism, resentment, fear, all of those things that have kept us from seeing the truly through the lens of love and seeing the divinity in others. Because when we really use the right lens in the right situation and come from a heart of love, we will see the divinity in others and in every situation. This I know. This has been my experience. And it's a practice. It's something we have to work on. It's not something that, oh, now I have the perfect glasses, everything's good, right? I need to always be aware of what glasses I'm using in what situation, and I need to be willing to change them when necessary. And I need to be willing to do the work, to keep them clean, to get a new prescription if that's what's needed. I used to love that Dr. Phil thing. How's that working for you? If the lenses you are looking through do not provide you with the world that you want to see, change them. Go to a practitioner. Go take a class. Do something to help you get a different prescription. We live in a world where there are so many possibilities. We live in a world where you have the choice today. They have these transition lenses that will adapt from dark to light without you even having to take them off your face. For me, that's a great metaphor for adapting to the circumstances through life. But you always have that choice, and that choice is your divine gift. It is your divine willingness to make that choice and to choose the lenses that allow you to show up as the divine being that you are. So I could go on and on, but I think I'm going to end it there and just say, what lenses are you choosing today? Are you willing to make a shift or at least clean the lenses through which you look? Are you willing to be aware that it is your choice of lenses that determines the world in which you live? So let's all choose the lens of love, and let's all make a world that works for everyone.
It should go out to people's personal Facebook pages. It was not a Center for Spiritual Living Facebook page. So it was.
And so, we take a deep breath, knowing that all is well, life is good, and we move from good to great good. It's been interesting. And your talk, Lori, has helped us to level set, to align, to understand what's important and what's not as important, and to accept the foibles in life and to live in the knowingness that all is well and our life is good. And we do move from good to greater good. So this is our offering time. Let us enter in this offering in joy, because we are dealing with the principle of eternal abundance. Look at it. Eternal abundance. It's just all over, including some of the things that are flying around. This universe is never poor. It's never poor. The universe never runs out of leaves for trees. It never runs out of the weeds for our gardens. The universe is always abundant, always rich, always productive. And we get to choose it. So let's choose it right here and right now.
Abundance flows, a sacred stream, from my divine to life's grand dream. No lack, no loss, just endless grace, infinite wealth in time and space. I think I speak, and so it goes. The law of good forever flows. My thoughts are seeds, my faith strong. Consciousness sings my will sweet song. I claim my good, I stand in light. Prosperity flows clear and bright. No fear, no doubt, just trust, just know from source within all riches grow. Abundance flows, a sacred stream from mind divine to life's grand dream. No lack, no loss, just boundless grace, infinite and wealth and space.
And we also want to thank everyone who donates online through PayPal. A lot of you are right here that do that. So thank you very much. We know that in joy and gratitude, we would not be here if you didn't donate. We wouldn't be here. But we're here because you do donate. So we're really grateful for that. Knowing that the Center for Spiritual Living Princeton is guided, guarded, protected, and completely financially supported in all its activities. So we'll have Lori up here to do a closing treatment for us. Thank you again so much.
And so, I invite you to close your eyes and to hear these words as if they were your own. Because since we are of one mind, in a way, they are. So right here, right now, I align myself with that good, with that power, with that presence, with that divine vision that is ever expressing in, as, and through my very life. I know that there is only one, and that I get to see that one because I choose the lenses that allow me to see it. And I willingly participate in my alignment with truth. I am divinely guided at every moment to choose the lens that best serves. And so I am here to be of service to others, to be in divine flow, to be an expression of love, to be love in action, and create a world that works for everyone. And today I know that each person here, each person listening has been uplifted, empowered, has cleaned their lenses, and has been able to connect with that place within them where divinity lives, that just wishes to be love in a greater way every day, in every moment of kindness, of grace, of gratitude, and of joy. And today we get to be that. And so with deep gratitude for this teaching, for this opportunity to speak here with all of you today, and for this wonderful blessing of consciousness, I simply say thank you. And I release this word into an ever-present and loving law that does unto us as we believe. And so, knowing that we all believe in the oneness and the truth, I simply let it be. And I invite you all to join me in saying, and so it is.
So it is.
Amen. Hallelujah.
I said, Amen. 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 I said, Amen. All right. Let's hear it for Lori one more time.